What is up, YouTube? It's good to be back. So today we're going to get right into the content. We are talking about the builder now. Before you, my team people, click off. If y'all gave me 15 seconds, let me explain something to you. The builder is what 2K thinks is balanced in the game. So it's important for you guys to know in my team. I know a lot of my team followers, but I know a lot of you guys do play Parks, do play Rec. So, and I said this year we're going to be covering the whole game, right? Not just my team. So the thing for you guys to understand, number one, is when you're going for a card, to know when you're getting something that has an advantage, right? So for instance, if 86 ball handle is the threshold for a great move and they cut off the height at 6'8", well, then when you get a 6'9", 86 ball handler, the lights should go off. Okay, this card is moving into the my team realm out of the balanced realm, right? And as the year goes on, we want to be on top of those cards first. The same way we're on top of the SIGs, we have to be on top of these badges and attributes. And I wanted to discuss what you guys should know going forward. Now, this is a great video. I'm a fan of Joe Knows, a great competitive player as well as a great content creator. He's also a build specialist, right? So Joe has a lot of great information, but Joe is one man and he can't tell you guys everything. So I wanted to give you guys some tips before the game comes out. Now we're starting to approach the 11th hour here, so it's time to get it cracking. So here's the thing you really want to look at before you buy a single card, before you make a build. What you want to look at is, so Joe at the end of this video talks about gameplay, right? He says, you know, if shot contests work this way, yeah, that's all true. But here's what really matters. What are the thresholds for each attribute point for it to mean something? Does speed make a big leap between 75 and 85, right? Does a mismatch of perimeter defense versus the offensive, slashing badges and the offensive slashing attributes, because a lot of the badges have been consolidated. The advantage to when there was a lot of badges is you could just measure up badge versus badge, right? Like old school, it would be like blow by versus what was clamps called? I guess clamps last year, right? Or the physical handles versus whatever the one was. I forgot already. I took 2 weeks off. I don't remember anything about 2K24. It's all 2K25 now. But the badge where you were strong on the perimeter, those badges would go head to head. Now it's more amorphous, and what that means is that attributes probably carry a lot more of the weight in these builds. Before, the attributes were, in a lot of ways, glorified badge unlocks. There were some attributes that I would tell y'all, hey, listen, over a 90 strength, you feel a difference, right? Between an 89 and a 90 strength. That is actually a difference you can feel. Three-pointer last year, you don't feel any real difference shooting open threes, at least for me. As a pretty good shooter last year, shot a really great percentage all year in all game modes. From 78 or even 76 to 86 felt absolutely nothing. From 86 to 92 felt very little. It just was you could shoot a little farther from the line. But then from 92 to 99, I could feel every single upgrade. 93, 94, 95, every attribute gained power. Now you cannot figure this out all in day one. It's going to take 2 to 4 weeks to figure this out. But what you can figure out on day one is the bare minimum of, okay, when do perimeter defenders stop getting blown by? Like, that's an important one. When does shot contest not matter? And I'm going to relate this to my team, right? So in my team, small point guards play more early in the year, right? But this coming up year, it's going to be really important when shot contests start to fail between the combination of perimeter defense and height, right? Because we know both are a factor. And Mike Wong said, I don't know if we should call him Mike Wang because everybody does, but it is Mike Wong. We try to keep it accurate here on this channel, but sometimes the people win. But Mike Wang, he said, perimeter defense matters more. And this is a theme, right? Because there are less attributes in some ways and less badges in other ways. So you see, agility is going to control your ability to move around, right? But your ability to actually get a good number when you contest the shot, to play the math in your favor, that's going to be the perimeter defense. They haven't spoken about wingspan in that factor yet, right? Can a small guard have a long wingspan and still be a good perimeter defender versus a 6'5"? If that small guard has great sigs and a fast release, then he probably plays more. So even though the builder is for rec and it is for, park and stuff like that, I can tell you as a player who plays both, having the knowledge of the builder, it's a faster way to learn the attributes because you can just test every single little thing. Whereas in my team, the cards come pre-packaged, right? So now I'm not telling you guys to do this. This is what I'm going to do. What I am telling you guys to do is like and subscribe and be here for when I do this, because I'm definitely going to be sharing this experience. I do this basically every year. Last year, I went in the hardest. What I do before I make a build is I go in and I actually test stuff out. This year, I'm a better player than I've ever basically been in this game. But I've always been very, very good at the builder, right? So what I'm going to do before I even touch the builder, I'm going to be in that blacktop. I'm going to be in that play now. And we're going to see just what these numbers actually mean. We see what the numbers say they mean, but these numbers that are right in front of us have nothing to do with when you start playing a basketball game. Is there a perimeter defense rating where you completely stop getting your ankles broke? Is there a strength rating where you all of a sudden keep getting bumps? So this is one I want to really highlight, actually. This was big last year. Strength was a significantly better defensive attribute than basically all of the defensive attributes except for steal. Except for steal, strength was better than every other defensive attribute last year, right? If you had a 99 strength and you were just fast, you could literally bump people all the time. And basically all modes of the game. Immovable enforcer. I remembered it. I'm back. If you could get that immovable enforcer, you weren't perfect on the perimeter. You could feel that the perimeter defense will hold you back from certain angles. But if you played it right, you could completely play around not having high perimeter defense. One of my best defensive players all year, and I had like 2 lockdowns. One of my best defensive players all year had a 76 perimeter defense because of how athletic he was, right? So my message to y'all is, before, I know the temptation is strong. You want to open this game up and this Christmas morning, you want to go in and just blow all your resources on a trash build and picking up trash cards and throwing them on your team. Just literally day one, when the game is coming in, watch the YouTube videos, mine included, but other people's too, and try to figure out what these numbers mean before you double and triple down on your opinion of what these attributes actually all mean. So just to give you a quick summary of what Joe Knows is talking about right here, he's saying basically in the builder, the shorter you are, the more attributes you get. So even a 5'9" compared to a 5'10" has significantly more access to like legend badges and 99-3, 99 steal. It looks crazy on paper, but his message is basically, but that doesn't matter if I can just shoot over you all the time, right? And that 34 strength is already alarming to me because I'm seeing a lot of, and this is something we want to look at. I'm seeing a lot of physicality animations. Players like Luka and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, they are made to be better in this game than previous years. 2K doesn't want to undermine speed, but they don't want speed to be the only important thing in the game, the only way to score, because that doesn't reflect real life basketball at any level, right? At any level. Even street ball, Escalade was killing people because he was big and strong, right? It was his agility mixed with his side. Rest in peace. So to Mark Jackson's brother. So in this game, understand, it's funny, they were having this big Sim Nation versus arcade debate, and I didn't participate because it just none of it made sense, right? But one thing that the argument gets wrong, and this is wrong, this is facts. The company does not spend hundreds of millions of dollars year over year to go through high-tech features like Pro Play because a small group of players want them to do it. This is something they have been building up towards with various engineers. And I don't mean software engineers, I mean hardware engineers, right? There's hardware involved in pro play. This is something they've decided to do, right? Now, if the future of the game looks more like sim, and that's going to please the people who are sim, and the people who are less sim are going to have to adapt to that, and maybe they'll be unhappy about it. But never believe that a few players are influencing the billion-dollar company to spend hundreds of million dollars on a feature. You know what I mean? And the company doesn't make features. This is arcade, this is sim, this is arcade, this is sim, and then they put all the folders together and they go, okay, we'll use 3 folders from this pile. No, they're just dealing with the limitations of technology, but they have a vision. And one of their visions, they do not want Luka Doncic to go his entire career and need a completely broken jump shot to be effective in 2K, right? Because that's the only way Luka was really effective with his own SIGs. He had to either have a completely broken jumper, or he needed to have stats that had no reflection on Luka whatsoever. They didn't resemble him, not at all, right? 2K clearly wants to change this, especially the league has gotten a lot shiftier over time, and it's gotten a lot less physical. And I think 2K is moving. If you guys will look in the game, right, there's a lot of grabbing animations that are left over from the 2000s, right? They used to be able to, they actually worked on a jersey grab animation. The jersey doesn't pull, but when players reach out, if for those of you who weren't around at the time, this was a feature they discussed where they were like, it was a positive thing. Like, yeah, you can grab people's jerseys and they won't be allowed to just run past you because the game was different. 2K is evolving to be more like today's game, where there's less contact, there's more space, but there's more shiftiness. There's a lot less just blowing by people because defenders are more athletic and they can rotate, right? So now it's the battle between drop coverage and 5 out and pick and roll. And so those shifty step backs and that shifty left-right dribble becomes more important. And 2K is clearly leaning into this with the pro play technology because it allows them to do a lot of things. People think they understand pro play. I said this a few months ago. I'll reiterate it here. Until we literally sat down with, like, if we sat down with the devs and the engineers of pro play, then we would understand it. Because the game is going to take a long time to actually reflect pro play, right? This is something where pro play is giving them all new data and they got to figure out how to turn that into a video game. And that's what we're witnessing. So as we're witnessing this, we need to recalibrate how we absorb the information that we see in the builder, on the cards, in the SIGs. It's a completely different game. So while nothing anyone does on day one is going to resemble the most optimized version of a team or a build or even a play style, that's going to take time to learn. And that's a good thing. I don't want to play the same game every year. I want to play an evolving game. But you can save yourself from being horrible in the builder and also being horrible in your team building, in my team, by finding out these basic fundamentals early on and treating it like a brand new game. There are going to be some things that are going to feel very much like past 2Ks, but I believe there's going to be enough stuff different in this game that what you did before is not going to matter as much. And I'll give you guys one big example that I think a lot of people are sleeping on. Last year, 2K successfully completely changed the meta of the game. The meta of the game in previous years was all threes and pick and roll, 100%. There was literally nothing else. Even at the highest level, guys started taking mid-range shots and had mid-range builds. They didn't just have 98 mid-range to boost their three-point badges. That was a positive, but they also, if you watch the footage, forget about what people say, look at what they do. If you watch the footage, when people would really sit on that three-point shot, they would crab people into the mid-range a lot of times and take that shot. They would shoot leaners in the mid-range. There were specialists who started to emerge who were better at this style. Back in the day, it was only Ticino. And now there's a lot of guys, there's the Black Cobras and Dimeworks and stuff like that. More people y'all aren't aware of because they're not as popular, or you don't watch comp, that are adding this to their game. Even on Joe Knows' team, look at the shots that Swag Godly takes. Even on Laker fans' team, look at the shots that Tonic takes, right? The meta literally changed. They added a mid-range to the game, and it was a major factor. And even like the post fades were there a little bit. Even the pivot stuff was there a little bit. The triple threat stuff was there a little bit more. And on layups also got added into the game, right? They weren't even in the game before. Layup animations were in the game, but layups weren't in the game before. So this is going to extend off of that, except now we have a brand new dribbling system and a whole new badge tier that could really change the game. What does a mid-range legend badge player look like? Right? There was a lot of 98 mid-ranges going around last year. If that's a legend badge this year, you might be looking at some crazy stuff in the mid-range that completely change what is required of you as a defender with the new level of shiftiness. So while we look at this builder, I highly recommend looking at Joe Knows' video. This video right here is the first in many videos I'll be doing as the game comes out to prime my community to be as successful as possible with your first steps into 2K25. And so rule number one above everything, this is not 2K24. Number two, in going in with this is with an open mind, learn those basics first of how these interactions are working. The combination of ball handle, speed, and strength versus the combination of perimeter defense, agility, and strength. Where are the thresholds? What does 85 versus 85 look like versus 92 versus 78? Is that a big lopsided advantage, or is it something that you're like, you know what? I'll get beat a few possessions, but I'm gonna live, right? You'll get me a couple of times, but he'll hold his own. And in a trade-off, I have better offense. Or are you just getting cooked out your sneakers? And you're like, nah, you can't roll with a bad defensive player. They'll get hunted down just like in real life. We do not know yet. We're gonna find out when the game drops. I will be in the lab. I will be in those streets. I'll be watching all of these videos, as well as doing my own deep dive work so that we can find all of the juice that's out there in this early going as the game launches. With that, I'm gonna leave you guys until the next one. Thank you so much for your support. I'll see y'all. Peace.